What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy, joined today by the man, Jay Lonzo. How we doing for the pregame, Jalen?
Oh, my goodness. Just like...
Bro, we're coming off of such a brutal loss last night. It's like, I'm not looking forward to watching today's game at all. But let's still be positive. Shout out to everybody currently in the chat. Let's take attendance/roll call. You guys know the deal. Shout out to Lori, Will Star, Joseph, Jenny, Bright, Amy, Stevie. Who else we got? We got Alex, Joseph, Chris, Damian, CJ, Dirtbike Nation, T-Bird, Jesse Sanchez. Where's Jesse Dominguez? He can't be too far off. Oh, he's not here, actually. Interesting. But listen, shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you all for stopping by for today's day game pregame. Oh, I like that. The day game pregame. Big fan of that. Let's start things off today by bringing up the Yankees starting lineup. One man is missing once again, Jalen, and that's Clint Frazier. Now, we were kind of talking about this before. Don't get me wrong. Clint has been god-awful, but it's coming to a point where I don't know how the Yankees are expecting him to improve his at-bats if he's not getting consistent at-bats. I feel like we're a broken record talking about this at this point. The Yankees didn't do this with Hicks when he was severely struggling. They're not doing it with Odor. They're not doing it with Stanton, anybody else who has faced like a significant amount of struggles this season. So I don't understand why Clint's that guy.
I just think at this point, if they're going to continue to do this, they need to trade Clint Frazier. Like, maybe that's what they're planning to do. So maybe they don't want to get him injured before the trade deadline. Maybe that's what this is all about. But there has to be some kind of explanation for them being – if this was the case, why did they make it so adamant to say he's our guy? Like,
exactly.
No one forced them to say that.
Yeah.
And we knew going into last year, he kind of had to battle for at-bats, you know? So we kind of even though we were upset whenever he got taken out of games in the seventh inning or whatever, all that nonsense that's happening this year, last year we kind of were okay with it just because there was no, like, nobody from the Yankees, not Aaron Boone, not Brian Cashman, ever said Clint Frazier's our guy. But this year, this offseason, they made it a point to start off all of their pressers with Clint Frazier as our starting left fielder. And there was no reason to do that if you're going to continue to do what you've done in the past. So I understand that Clint's sucking and he looks lost out there, but he talked about it yesterday. Like he literally said, you know, I think it's timing. And if you watch his at-bats, it's not that he doesn't have a good swing. It's not that he doesn't know how to hit anymore. He looks like he's just completely off time. So whenever he gets a fastball, it looks like it's 93 sneaking by him, and he's guessing off speed. Like, he's just always guessing wrong. And what that has to do with is your timing and getting at bats and reps. And if you sit one day, you play the next against a tough righty, then you sit for 2 days, and then your team has an off day, and then you play against the lefty, and then now you go for 3 in that game, then you sit again. Like, you're never going to get your rhythm. That's
exactly what's going to happen, because he's probably going to be playing tomorrow. And then they have off on Monday, so he's going to be off on Monday. He's going to pick things back up on Tuesday, maybe. So it's definitely tough for Clint. But another weird aspect of today's lineup, Aaron Hicks is back in the 3 hole, especially against a righty where he's going to be batting lefty, where he hasn't been too good lately. I don't understand why Hicks is back in the 3 hole. Do you have any
No, I
feelings
think
about this?
listen. Yesterday I was a little bit more up on Boone than I have been in the past. I think he handled. I know people were giving him kind of a lot of. He caught a lot of flack for like how he handles the team in like rough spots, because it's easy to look good when the team is playing well, but when it's not going well, he doesn't really know how to handle that. I
Yeah.
think he handled yesterday about as well as he could have, especially for the kind of person he is. He's never going to be the guy that's just going to like curse out everyone in the presser. Like that's not him. Um, and so like yesterday, I forget. I think it was Meredith actually who asked like, "Are you going to address the team?" And he was like, he kind of looked pissed, and he was like, "I did already." And she asked him like, "What'd you say?" That's for us to understand, for us to know. So I gave him credit for yesterday, but then he comes back out today and puts out a terrible lineup. Like,
Yeah, I
and
don't get it.
I hate to say terrible because whenever you're penciling in DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gleyber Torres, like those types of guys, Gio Urshela is hot right now. He moved Gio down, even though he's our hottest hitter, which I don't
Bro, like,
understand. But
also Gardner's
that's what I'm
batting
saying.
ahead of Sanchez and Gio. Like,
That's
I
what I'm
don't get
saying.
it.
Like I think whenever you put guys like that in the lineup, you can't really call it terrible. They're just playing terrible right now. So
Yeah.
but I do not understand how you can watch the games and what's going on and still like this is the lineup that you come up with. Like you watch all these games, you say, yeah, Guardy should be hitting ahead of Gio Urshela and Gary. Hicks should be hitting third as a lefty. Like I don't
It's so
understand it.
weird because like we talk about how the Yankees are so analytically driven, right? And they don't believe in hot and cold streaks. They don't believe in like lefty righty matchups, right? But it seems like that's what they do. Like they do the hot
Yeah.
and cold thing with Clint Frazier and Brett Gardner. They do like the lefty righty thing today. I mean, Brett Gardner's batting ahead of Gio and Gary just because he's a lefty.
I
It
think they have people tell me I have like my mom or not people my mom tells me I have selective hearing. I think the Yankees have like very selective decision making.
yeah.
So like when it comes to Aaron Hicks, they don't believe in hot and cold, but they believe in lefty righty splits. When it comes to Clint Frazier, they don't believe in lefty righty splits, but they believe in hot and cold. Like it's very very weird how they go about it, and I understand every player is different. I understand that not everyone's going to uh, understand what's going on in their clubhouse. So like I always say, I always cut a manager a little bit of slack at the very least, just because we have no idea what's going on. So like when Aaron Judge is not in a lineup and we're like, why is he not playing? He just hit 2 home runs last night, and then it comes out that he's sore. Like
Yeah.
we're not privy to that information until later. So I do cut them a little bit of slack, but simple things like placement in the lineup, like there's no way that because it always happens. We get into a big scenario where we could potentially tie a game or take the lead, and Tyler Wade's up, or Brett Gardner's up, or Rougned Odor is up, Jay Bruce is up. It always happened. Aaron Hicks is up when he's struggling. Like
Yeah. It's just how it works.
our hottest hitter is never up when we need him to be.
No, but that's exactly like if you look at like the defense side of things, they always say like, oh, like if you're a bad defender, like the ball's always going to find you, right?
Yeah.
And like that, what seems to happen with the Yankees lineup. But I think the most brutal part of today, looking at the lineup, is the pitcher they're going up against, and that's Tyler Glass now. Jalen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's gonna be absolutely dominant today.
He might
Like,
go over 15 strikeouts. I'm not even kidding.
no, I was gonna say that he might go over 15 Ks.
And he probably is going to pitch like 8 innings, maybe give up a lucky bloop hit to Gio or something like. Or
But it's
no,
like,
actually, matter of fact, Brett Gardner is going to leg out an infield single.
bro, but like we say this, but it's very possible the Yankees could get to him too and score like 10 runs today. Like,
That's just how
obviously
this
that
team is, yeah.
exactly. It's like you never know what you're gonna get. But if we're looking at like past results recently, they're absolutely gonna get blown away by Tyler Glass now. I mean, this dude's an excellent pitcher. And that's kind of why I'm so pessimistic as far as today's game. But I mean, the Yankees do have Monty on the mound, who's their second best pitcher at this point in the season. And then Cole tomorrow. So if the Yankees are still trying to salvage this series, they have their two best pitchers on the mound for the next two games, which would be huge if they won the next two.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I'm pessimistic not because I don't think they can win these next two games. I'm just pessimistic because of how they look. Like they were, for the most part, they were in that game yesterday for at least half of that game. It was
Yeah.
2-0 until maybe what, the sixth or seventh inning. I don't know. I turned it off. So it's not that they're not in these games. It's that they are in these games and then just basically fold. Like, or they'll come back and then the defense will collapse and then we'll end up going to extra innings and lose. Like, there's no like there's no middle. It's either they look awful or they look. Actually, no, there isn't. There's no great. It's only the awful or the middle. Like they
Yeah.
either look a little bit competitive or they look terrible.
We
And
haven't seen them look
yesterday,
great.
that's what I'm saying. So like there's no. When I said there's no middle, I meant there's no like they haven't hit their ceiling yet.
Yeah.
So they've either looked moderately competitive, even when they look moderately competitive, it's like for maybe 1 or 2 innings, and then that's just enough. Like against the Orioles, where we score 7 runs, and it's just like, okay, well, we look pretty terrible the rest of that game. Um, but I think the thing that I'm most worried about is like I think the problem with the Yankees and Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman is they only start to implement things when they hit rock bottom. So like I saw today that they decided to take infield practice before the game. That should be something that's like I understand they're major league players and you don't want to do infield practice every day before a game, but like why not do that once a week? You know your team is not a good defensive team. Work on that stuff. Get used to Yankee Stadium. Like you're in Tampa, Florida all year. Get used to guys playing with the lights. There's new guys on the team. Like I just don't understand why that's something that's like so like we haven't. They said they haven't done that in like over a decade.
No, I know, bro, and it really makes no sense why the Yankees, after all these years of like not being able to perform well, like on the basics of the game. So we're talking about like hit with runner scoring position, or be good defensively, or base
Base
running
running.
skills. Exactly. It's like this is not anything new. The Yankees have been struggling with this for years. So why hasn't there been any steps taken in the organization to improve these aspects of the game?
At
Work
all.
on
Like
base running,
nothing.
work on defense. Like, is this crazy to think about?
It's only like the way I compare it is like if a guy gets caught, if you know a guy and he has anger issues for 15 years, and then all of a sudden he gets caught at a bar getting into a fight, and he's like, "All right, guys, fine, I'll go to like anger management classes," and he does it once. He posts about it on Instagram. Like he
Where
tags
is this
the place
going?
because look, watch, I got you. It's early, so my analogies are not as sharp as they usually are, but just follow me. He posted on Instagram. He saw, I just went to anger management class. I'm a changed man, and that's the last time he goes. And then that same weekend, he gets into another fight, and the cycle continues. The Yankees are this guy at the bar, right? They have had defensive problems, base running problems, fundamental issues for years, and now they're playing terribly. And now it's all right, Brian Hoke. Tell everybody we just did infield practice before a game on a day game. Like
It's like
that's
for
what
show.
show everyone. Yeah, so everyone
Yeah.
can know that we're trying.
Yeah.
But are they going to do it tomorrow? Are they going to do it the day after that? Are they going to do it on their day off? Are they going to
I
do it
think
when they
that's what's
travel on the
important.
road? Are they going to improve during the actual games?
Yeah.
So are they just going through the motions and just we have got like Aaron Hicks, for example. I like the fact that he was struggling early on and not it happens, but he was recognizing that his swing was off. I'm going to stay late, get some extra work in the cage, and then the next day I'm going to come early. And he's been doing that ever since. He's not gloating about it. He's not posting on Instagram, look, I'm here early, I'm here late. No, I just need to get
Mhm.
extra work. So now it's like Aaron Boone's like, okay, we're struggling defensively. So I'm mad. Now we need to do infield practice. No, this should have been something that's already been doing.
Exactly.
Like you should have been doing this already.
Yeah. It's like, bro, I have a good analogy. It's like when your mom gets mad at you for not taking out the garbage. That's something you should usually do.
Yeah,
But bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, should already happen.
exactly.
All
That
right,
was,
Alex
that
says,
was all right. That was a 7 out
yeah,
of 10.
yeah, it was okay. The Yankees should do what they did in the AL Wild Card Series Game 1 to Shane Bieber. Don't swing at the curveball. If you do not, then you will have success. Okay, it's kind of weird looking back on like the wild card series last year because I just don't feel the same confidence in this lineup to be patient at the plate.
No,
Like they had like a valid approach going into that game. It seems like they don't have any approach going into any of these games at all.
I actually, here's the thing. The funny thing is, Glasnow's pitched a couple gems against us, but we've also hit him pretty well in the past. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't hit him too well in Game 5, but he only pitched like an inning and a third or something like that, or 2 innings.
But that was so weird because he was on like 2 days rest. I
Yeah, no,
really
no.
thought we were gonna rock him.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not counting that. He came in more like an opener, and he was throwing 100. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
really. But we Stanton hit him well in Game 2, I believe it was. Like,
Yeah.
we put up I think 4 or 5 runs on him. We've done the same to him in the past in the regular season in 2019. So I'm not like I'm not saying that they don't. They've shown that they can have a good approach against a good pitcher before, but the way that this lineup is going right now, what reason do you have to be confident in their approach? Like no one has shown a
Yeah.
good approach. Not one
Yeah.
person on this team has shown. Even Gio, like Gio's hitting well, but he's kind of just like looking lost, and then he makes good contact. Like it's so weird. Like
Yeah, that's
I'm not
exactly what I'm
trying to.
saying. But I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't think any of them have good approaches right now.
Jalen, like that's the weird part, right? I mean, looking at like the past few years, like when this team really hit struggles, like their rock bottom level, it always seemed like their lineup was never at full strength at that point. Right now, the Yankees seem like they're at rock bottom, but their lineup is at full strength besides Luke Voigt being gone. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no other excuses for why these guys shouldn't be performing. Judge is in the lineup, Stanton is in the lineup. How often do we actually see Judge and Stanton in the same lineup? And it seems
no,
like they're
not
just wasting it away.
yeah, not very often. And I know I see like some people talking about like who can bring up like Mike Ford, Derek Dietrich. I understand that, but like I saw this on Twitter. I forgot who said it, but it's just kind of like we're barrel or what's the expression like
What?
scraping the barrel. Like we're looking for
Oh, we're
uh
scraping the bottom of the barrel.
yeah, like we're shopping in the bargain bin. Like those
Yeah.
all those catchphrases. It's like why are we looking? We're looking at like listen to what we're saying right now. We're looking for Derek Dietrich,
No,
a
I know.
career like 200 hitter. Although we love the guy, he's
We
fun.
like Derek Dietrich, yeah.
We you know it would be cool to see him hit a couple of home runs and pimp it like great, but we're looking for Derek Dietrich to save our offense. Like that's sad. Like
Listen,
that's just I don't even. It's not even like we need. To, there's not. It shouldn't be that we need to bring anyone up or down. Our guys should be producing because our main guys are the ones that are not producing.
no, I know. But that's my thing. It's like going back to how the Yankees are really hypocritical when it comes to their analytic team. Wouldn't you think that Derek Dietrich would make more sense for this team than Rougned Odor? I mean, just
Yeah, 100.
looking
percent
based on like on base percentage, bro. Rougned Odor doesn't get on base, and the Yankees love guys who get on base, right? Derek
Well,
Dietrich may not like he may bat like under 200, but he will have like a 350 on base percentage.
yeah.
Rougned Odor will bat under 200 and have a 208 on base percentage.
We talked about this when they traded for Odor. It's like this doesn't really make a ton of sense. It's maybe they see something with
It
his
still
swing and
doesn't.
with that they can fix and like it might take a little time. So maybe there's that. But like to me, what it looks like right now is that they saw that they could get Odor for literal like $0. They don't have to pay him anything as long as he's on the major league roster, and they have to pay Derek Dietrich like league minimum or like $1 million or something like that. So
Oh,
that's that. I'm like that sounds like a joke, but I genuinely think like that's the difference is that they don't have to pay him $1 million. They don't have to pay him anything. So it's
that's
like
so
we can.
ridiculous,
They
though.
think they can get similar production, but if that was the case, why did you bring in Dietrich in the first place? What was
Bro,
the
but
point
that's
of that?
exactly what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. Also, the fact that Dietrich is more versatile than Odor.
Yeah.
If you need Dietrich to play third, he could play third. If you need him to play the outfield, he could play the outfield. So, bro, the Rougned Odor experiment doesn't really make sense to me. I understand he had that clutch hit against the Rays, but other than that, like, bro, the dude's been pretty bad. I mean, and it's come to a point where we're like, we like the fun on the team, right? We talked about this, and we like Rougned Odor's like flashy like bat flips and whatever. But there comes a point where it's a little bit annoying. The Yankees were down, I think, 8-2 last night. Rougned Odor hits a line drive to the center fielder and he flips his bat. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm just like, bro, like, it's just not the time and place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I mean, listen. I don't know what the Yankees are thinking. but it's like it's a pattern too because we had the chance to, and don't get me wrong, I was a supporter of the Yankees offseason. I thought they had a decent offseason. I didn't think that um,
Same,
it
yeah.
was negative in any stretch. But we also did realize like we are going for pitchers that haven't pitched. We're adding 3 pitchers to the rotation that haven't pitched an inning since 2019, and I think one was from 2018. So I don't know what we expected. Like I know we all probably expected Kluber to look a little bit better. Taillon hasn't looked terrible, but he's still struggling with location, and
Yeah.
he can't really get out of an inning without pitching more than 20 pitches. So it's gonna be this is like a it's gonna be a tough start to the season regardless because when you could have had a guy like Joe Musgrove and Lance Lynn for about the same amount of money, like we paid Corey Kluber $11 million.
Yeah.
Like I supported bringing Kluber in because he was a 2-time Cy Young winner. He's come. Everyone thought he was looking back to form. Like there was obviously competition for him, so I was supporting bringing him in. But you're paying $11 million and he can't pitch more than 4 innings.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning. I mean, but we knew in the beginning of the season he wasn't gonna. I mean, him and Tyone weren't gonna be giving the Yankees much length. But if we're talking like the summer's coming around and he still can't pitch at least into the sixth, that's concerning,
Bro, he
especially for
should
the
be able
bullpen.
to. At this point, he should be able to pitch more than 70 pitches, bro.
Yeah,
Like
no, I know.
that's concerning. I'm not saying that he won't build up a little bit, but when you've given up 3 runs through 4 innings, you start to look better in the last your last 2 innings, and you're at 70 pitches. You can't go one more inning. The Yankees were up 4-3, and Kluber was through 4, and he had 70. I think 70 like 3 pitches. You're telling me he
So
can't get
annoying.
one more inning?
You know what I do want to bring up, regardless of like the whole Kluber thing, kind of it goes back to last night when fans were throwing stuff on the field. Obviously, I don't defend that at all. I don't think anybody should ever be throwing anything on the field. But I think the way that the Yankees media kind of handled it was a little bit annoying in the sense of they kind of painted these fans that were throwing stuff on the field as being like these rabid animals who like don't deserve to be in the stadium and they have no reason to be upset. Yankee fans have a very valid reason to be upset with this team right now.
Yeah,
And if they wanted to do that to send a message and get themselves kicked out of the stadium, like that's on those fans. I'm not defending it, but I could understand where they're coming from. Is that wrong to
yeah.
say? And I think it
No,
was kind of
I don't think
annoying
it
how
is.
like a lot of like the Yankees reporters were acting like this was some horrific event that like they're traumatized by. Like did you see any of those tweets?
Bro, yeah, no, I think Yankees media has always been soft. I think what the problem is with Yankees Twitter, right? And I guess technically we're a part of that, but my problem with Yankees Twitter is that they try to portray themselves for the most part as Yankees fans. And I think sure they might root for the team, but when you're a diehard Yankee fan, like I believe that we're content creators and we write about the Yankees, we talk about the Yankees, we analyze the things that they do, but we're also diehard fans. Like we
Yeah,
are sitting in our chat, like no matter what time of the day it is, no matter how terrible the team is playing, we are constantly like talking about the Yankees in our chat, and that's from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to sleep. These people, and we don't get paid to do that. These
yeah,
people get paid to do their jobs, and I just feel like they don't have the same, they don't share that same passion that everyday Yankees fans have that don't get paid to support the team or
sure.
talk about the team. People come like we have people in our chat that are not they're not paid to be here and give their opinions on how they feel about the lineup or how they feel about Aaron Boone. They're just here because they care. And I'm not saying that you should ever throw things on the field, especially baseballs, because people can get hurt and stuff like that. But I just don't understand why they have any input. Like one guy I like is Brian Hoke, right? Brian Hoke, whenever he sees something that might be a little bit controversial, he just says what it is. He doesn't give
Yeah,
his opinion. He's not, and I'm not saying you should never give your opinion, but I'm saying like something like that. It's not really your place to tell people how angry they should be when they're paying $200, $300, however much money for a ticket, and they're watching garbage on the field.
yeah,
So it's just kind of like that shouldn't be your place to say they should be embarrassed like of themselves. Like that's not your call. They want to get
yeah.
thrown out of the stadium. That's for them to figure out. That's how angry they are. I would never do that personally because $200 is too
No, I know.
sacred to
Same.
me, and I'm gonna watch every inning of every pitch of that game. I'm not going to waste that. But I'm just saying, like, to say like it's embarrassing. It's like a disgrace. Like that's a
Yeah.
little bit dramatic. So I appreciate Brian Hope just saying. I mean, he might have said something else, but I saw a tweet where he was just like, Yankees fans are mad. They're throwing things on the field. Play has been halted. That's it. That's all people need to
Yeah.
know.
I agree. And I think you described it perfectly. But listen, before we do wrap up the pregame today, do you have any predictions for today's game?
This is so tough because this could be one of those games where they somehow win and we're just like,
Yeah.
what? Like it doesn't even make sense.
No, I know.
I think my prediction is that I think I'll just be vague. I think Glasnow won't be as dominant as we assume he'll be. I think maybe he'll struggle with control. He'll be pitching maybe until the 6th inning, and then he'll get taken out just because he has too many pitches. I'm not saying we're gonna pummel him. I'm just saying he might struggle with control. Let's say that it's a little
Diego
cold.
thinks we are.
Listen, I'm all for it. I think it's a little cold. He's used to pitching in the dome. He has the little California hair thing going. He's a pretty boy.
He has nice hair.
He hasn't seen. He does. He's a nice guy. I like him. I've seen him on R2C2. I think he's a future Yankee, but that's not the point. I think he hasn't seen Yankee fans in over a year. Yankees fans are mad. Listen, I'm just saying he could get a little rattled.
It's going to be interesting, but I'm going to go the opposite way of you. I'm predicting a loss today. I think Glasnow's absolutely going to dominate this lineup. I'm going just based on what we've seen out of this offense lately, and I just don't have any confidence in them going up against Tyler Glasnow. I just don't.
Yours is much more realistic.
Yeah, I mean, they could prove me wrong, but I guess we'll be optimistic. Hopefully the Yankees could put something together today. But Jalen, let's meditate for 5 seconds about the Yankees not being garbage today. How about that?
Let's meditate that we actually get a hit today. Let's do that.
Do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Meditate. So peaceful, bro. So peaceful.
That's like our last moment of peace before the Yankees play, like every day.
It's so brutal. But chat, I genuinely appreciate everyone stopping by for today's pregame. You guys know the deal. We're going live before and after every Yankees game this season. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you do know when we go live directly after the game. We'll be live today after the game, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate you all. Let's go Yankees. Hopefully they can pull out a win today. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. See you after the game. Peace.